You're watching Rogers TV, Barrie.
We are here in beautiful Thornton, Ontario with today's guest, Miss Francesca Panetta. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So you're a Barrie girl. That's originally your roots are from there. And tell us a little bit more about your upbringing in Barrie.
Yeah, so, well, actually, I was born in Scarborough.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we moved here when I was 9 and finished elementary school here at St. Nick's in Barrie, and then went to high school at St. Joan of Arc. And yeah, I grew up in like doing the school choir and the church choir and stuff like that, and singing lessons with a local teacher, and yeah, just in and out of the music scene growing up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that where you got into music, or did you start more as a childhood prior to high school?
So I always had an ear for music. I always loved singing around the house, but when I was younger, I actually wanted to be an actress. And then I got to a point where I was like, hey, I have no idea what I'm doing in acting. I have no experience or anything. And then I realized that I could somewhat sing. So so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try this out. And when I was still in Scarborough, I was probably about 6 years old, 6 or 7, and we had this after school program at my elementary school down there, and I did this singing class. And so the teacher actually approached my parents after the class one night, and she apparently like talked to them and thought that I had potential and wanted to teach me privately, but for some reason or other my parents ended up not going through with it. But yeah, and then when we moved up here, that's when I really got into more music.
Yeah. Were your parents musically inclined at all?
Not really. They're music lovers, I will say that. You know, my dad's into like the classic rock and you know, the Beatles, Queen, and all that fun stuff, and then my mom's more like the band music and the crooners like Dean Martin, and but yeah, I think my dad maybe played a little bit of guitar but didn't stick with it. Yeah. So yeah.
But what did you listen to growing up?
So a lot of both of those things.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I think my style is a little more old-fashioned, back in like those, you know, classic rock bands, and like I said, I grew up with a lot of crooners, or listening to a lot of crooners, and I definitely try to I guess sort of mimic that tone, or it's something that I really enjoy, so I guess I try to get as close to that as possible. And yeah, I remember listening to a lot of Shania Twain. There was a track on her greatest hits album, Party for Two, that whenever it was on, I skipped to that track. That was like my go-to. But yeah, that was a lot of my young childhood.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What were your influences when you got into writing your own music? Was it childhood stuff, or was it kind of your own? Did you sort of morph into listening or sort of writing about more of the things that you were listening to at that time, or?
Probably a bit of both. I think, like I said, my dad is a huge Beatles fan, so I think, I mean, who doesn't listen to the Beatles? So I think
True.
I think that had I think at least like structurally and melodically, I think it has a big impact on my writing style. And then for a more modern like part of it, I would say there's an Irish band called Codaline that I love, and I've loved since I was in probably elementary school, and so I listen to them a lot, and I get the urge every time I hear them. I get this urge to just write a song. So yeah, and they're kind of like very similar with like that British like rock pop, I guess, kind of vibe. So mm-hmm. I'm really into that. So I think that drives it a lot.
Yeah, cool. Mm-hmm.
I got a clouded mind. I don't know what I feel. I don't want to waste time, but I see you. I got dreams, I do. Dreams for me and you, 'cause I don't feel you. What would you say if I took your pain away? If I put your heartbeat next to mine? I wanna know who I am, but I don't know how to get there. Feel like I can't go anywhere just 'cause I think you care. I don't know where to go, I feel alone. I just wanna go to sleep, but I can't stop thinking. I got a clouded mind. I don't know what to feel. I'm tired of wasting time. Try to be cautious. Try to have hope, but I want such difficult things. Am I naive or am I right for thinking I could live my dreams? I got a clouded mind, but clouds only hide what's to come.
We talked prior a little bit about your influence as well, and the important things in your life that you like to portray and get across in your writing, and that one of them was mental illness, which is a sensitive issue.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit more about your writing with taking mental illness into consideration, and how important it is to you writing about these topics?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first and foremost, it's a huge coping mechanism for me. You know, I think I've been songwriting for a while, and I think it's almost evident in my songs that what I'm going through, I kind of get it out lyrically before I even realize what I'm going through, like externally in my life.
Subconsciously, it's
yeah.
coming up.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really interesting, because sometimes I'm like, where did that come from? And then months down the line, after I've made this huge life realization, I'm like, oh, that's where that came from. So it's really interesting. It's kind of funny to go back and look at it, you know.
So on that topic, have you dealt with friends, family? I'm just wondering if there's some real personal. Excuse me if I'm asking personal questions.
No, I'm an open book. It's all good.
But is there people that have been affected in your life, or even perhaps yourself, where you feel that I need to get this point across, I need to make a statement here?
Yeah. So yeah, on that point of like other people in my life, my brother, for one thing, always has suffered tremendously with his mental health and depression and anxiety and all that fun stuff, and even my parents too, they have their things, and lots of friends and family in my life, and then actually this past year, probably about a year ago now, I was actually diagnosed with general anxiety disorder and an eating disorder. And so I've been kind of dealing with that on top of making this EP this last year. So that's been really interesting to like try and maneuver around with, releasing my first thing ever, my debut EP, my first singles, doing my first music videos, all that stuff, right? So yeah, it's really, it's been a journey, really kind of witnessing all that for myself. And it's a lot sometimes, but I wouldn't have it any other way because it really comes through in my songwriting, and that's part of my artistry, right? So.
Well, you've turned into positive things, and let's talk about the recording on a more happy, exciting thing.
Yeah.
So you released an EP in September, I believe?
Yes, September 3rd.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the EP and how you got to the point of actually releasing it and the behind the scenes of it all?
Yeah, for sure. So like I said, I've been at this songwriting thing for a minute, and kind of finally decided to get my act together as an artist. Probably a little over a year ago now, so like 2 summers ago. And I actually had a close family member who came over one day, and I hadn't seen him in a while, and he was like, "So how's the music thing going?" And I was like, it's going. I'm still doing lots of stuff, but wasn't really getting anywhere with it, right? And he was like, "I thought I would have seen you in Nashville by now." And I was like, "Oh, ouch." No, but and then he was like, I actually have a friend because he travels for work. So he had a buddy in Nashville, and he calls him up. We were sitting at the table. He calls him up right there, puts him on speakerphone, and he's like, "Hey, do you know anyone? And I have my young cousin here." And the guy's like, "Yeah, I know someone." And anyway, so that was kind of it. So we. I think he knew like someone really high up in at EMI Records in Nashville, so it was a huge connection. And anyway, so I was kind of like back and forth with this cousin of mine trying to figure this out. And anyway, so that was kind of what drove the start to making a portfolio, like an actual professional portfolio, because I had nothing to share with these people, right? So anyway, then a year later, finally sending them my stuff. So I haven't heard anything back yet, but we're gonna see how it goes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you also did some recording in town as well, I believe, or had some mastering done here with a local.
Yeah, so I worked with a local producer named Jeff Wardle, and he was great throughout the whole process. It was kind of a new experience for both of us, just because of working through COVID, and we had to do a lot of it remotely, like I mentioned before, and over text and stuff. So it was very interesting. But he was super, super good throughout the whole thing, and being understanding of my being new at this too. And anyway, so he absolutely blew it out of the park, and far exceeded any of my expectations for the EP. So he was great, and he was great help. And then when it came down to mastering, he knew a guy named Noah Mintz from Lacquer Channel Mastering. And so I actually never met Noah in real life. We had kind of only talked virtually, but he did the work and sent it back, and first try I was like, perfect. So
nice.
It was a kind of an easy, super, super fun process, but
nice.
Something I'll never forget for sure.
Nice. I was listening to the track September Weather.
Right.
Absolutely loved it.
Thank you.
It brought me back to a little bit of, as I was saying before, some Enigma and Enya and This Mortal Coil. With that track was a little different than some of the other tracks.
Yeah.
Very diverse, and I kind of like that aspect of it. What kind of got you to the point of being multi-talented in that sense?
Thank you. I don't know. I think my songwriting very heavily depends on what I'm listening to around the time. And I think kind of getting into that more like mellow, jazzy pop kind of vibe. I was listening to this artist named Yeba. I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's ridiculously talented.
I have to listen to it now.
Yeah, you got it. Like she just released her album a few months ago, I think, called Dawn. And the whole album is so heartfelt, and her lyrics are so it hits you, and then anyway, and her voice is just unreal. So she's kind of got that kind of like jazzy pop kind of vibe, and anyway, like I said, it's very reflective on my writing, right? So I was like, I really like this vibe. I'd love to go for something like that. And then, like I mentioned before, I really like that sort of jazz croonery kind of sound to singing. So I wanted to try something more with that. And anyway, that's kind of how I got there. I don't love you, but I tried to. Oh, I tried to. I tried. I've lost the meaning. Don't know what I'm feeling. Try to find the real thing that that's why. I wonder what you think of when you dream at night. It makes me wonder what the hell those hazel eyes are watching. Can't say out loud, but I don't know how you still sleep by my side. You must know something, still you don't say nothing between unspoken fights. I wonder what you think of when you dream at night. It makes me wonder what the hell those hazel eyes. You don't understand that when you touch my hand, that I don't see no light. Don't wanna put on a show, I think it's time you know. I wonder how you love someone who can't give back. It makes me wonder why the hell you haven't left. Now I'm left to ponder when I dream at night. I wonder if you wonder what my hazel eyes are watching.
What made the decision to go to the keyboard synth sound as opposed to what you're usually playing, which is the guitar? What kind of made you to? Was it part of the whole sound that you wanted to totally change and create that whole vibe of that crooner kind of a thing, or chill, whatever the combo? I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think that was definitely part of it, just like the changing up the vibe of it. But I think another aspect of it was that I wanted to try and get more into the technical side of things. Like I usually sit down at my guitar or maybe a piano or something and write and do something that way. But I really wanted to start getting into, like, I have a little studio upstairs in my room, and I really want to start getting into like the MIDI and the kind of like the actual arrangement of it too. I want to have more of a hand at that. So so I think it was just kind of like a spur of the moment thing, and I was just like, yeah, we'll try this, we'll see what happens. I didn't even record it to a metronome, and so it ended up turning out like better than I expected. So definitely going to be a good demo to send around to some
producers. I think so. Yeah. Definitely. It's got my vote.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Definitely. Yeah, you mentioned a little bit about technical too, and we also talked prior to a little bit about how you're heavily into using the social media and the influence that YouTube has and how it can assist an artist. You want to talk more about your videos and how they came to fruition and the importance of it?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, social media, YouTube is such a huge thing in this day and age. If you want to get anywhere as an artist, you got to kind of like do at least something with it, right? Especially as an indie artist. So with the whole music video process I knew I wanted to do some music videos. I knew I wanted to make some, and the guy that I knew I was going to work with is actually part of the family. He's my cousin's husband, and I actually performed at their wedding a couple of years ago and things like that. So we had always kind of talked about working together. It was just a matter of like getting it into, actually doing it. And so I reached out to him and I was like, yo, Alex, I'm making an EP, it's happening. And we started talking about video ideas like back when I was still first in recording with Jeff. So So we were talking about it for a long time, and then when the time actually came and the EP was done, then they came up here, him and my cousin, and he's an amazingly like multi-talented, you know, cameraman, a creative director, editor. You know, he does the whole thing. So huge shout out to Alex Perry. Go and check him out. And anyway, yeah. So it's been an absolute pleasure working with him, and yeah, we had a ton of fun, and you can totally see that too if you go on his YouTube channel. There's some behind the scenes videos there too. So yeah, it was just a really cool, fun process.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sunny days gestured on your face. Well, I can see the light inside my own eyes. I look into the mirror just to find that I can't see her anymore. She's walked right out the door, looking at you in this light. I don't mind it. Maybe this time I won't try to hide it. I think I need a bad idea, just a one-time thing, and you seem like the kind of guy who's into that sort of thing. A quick escape from the wilderness that is my mind. Would it be okay if I called you mine, even if it is just for tonight? My whole life I have tried to live up to expectations that weren't even mine. All of these other people in my life I let get inside. Why did I? Looking at me in this light, I don't mind it. Maybe this time I won't try to fight it. I think I need a bad idea, just a one-time thing, and you seem like the kind of guy who's into that sort of thing. A quick escape from the wilderness that is my mind. Would it be okay if I called you mine, even if it is just for tonight? Tonight I wanna break free. Yeah, I just wanna be me. It seems so easy. So why is it so hard? I think I need a bad idea, just a one-time thing, and you seem like the kind of guy who's into that sort of thing. A quick escape from the wilderness that is my mind. Would it be okay if I called you mine, even if it is just for tonight? For tonight, would it be okay if I called you mine, even if it is just for tonight?
So what kind of gigs do you prefer? Do you prefer the bar scene, or prefer doing the smaller, intimate parties, the weddings? Like, what's really do you feel natural with, or What makes you kind of thrive and put a smile on your face at the end of the night after playing?
So this is going to sound interesting, but I know I'm not the only musician to say this. I prefer a bigger audience to a smaller audience. Because I don't know, something about like the bar scene or even a wedding, private parties, everybody's so close and everyone's like listening to you. And anyway, yeah, it's very nerve-wracking, I think. So yeah, when it's a bigger audience, more of like a stage, like concert setup, I feel more at home there, believe it or not. But
is there any gigs that stand out that?
Actually, just talking about it there kind of reminded me of one. So when I was I think I was in grade 9, there used to be a show on Rogers, actually, Rogers Berry, called Local Live with Steve Major. And so back when I was in grade 9, I auditioned for that show, and they came to our schools to film, and so what happened was I think they made it mandatory for the whole school to come and watch. So I had an audience of like probably close to 2,000 kids, and I remember like I got a great reaction at the end of that, and that was the first time that I had ever performed anything original. So that was a huge thing. That's a great memory in my head.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice. What advice, I ask this question sometimes to certain men because you're a younger artist, what advice can you give to artists growing up through the scenes and trying to get their name out there?
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about the importance of YouTube and all that, but is there any other advice you could give to artists that are coming up and want to make a name for themselves?
Try your absolute best to stay true to yourself and stay authentic, because it is so easy to lose yourself in the process with all the entertainment aspect and the performance aspect, and you know it's so easy to get lost in that. And you know, you get everybody telling you to do this instead of this, and you know, to wear socks or not, right? Like,
yeah. Oh yes, of course.
So you know, it's just really easy to get lost. So if there's anything I can say, it's try to stay authentic to yourself.
Nice.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to book you or get a hold of you, what's the best way to contact you as far as reaching out to you and wanting to have you as an artist?
Yeah. So probably Instagram is probably the social media platform that I'm most active on. It could be anywhere: Facebook, Instagram. Could be email, which you can find in my Instagram bio. And aside from that, just look at like my Spotify and things like that. And like I said, everything's linked to everything, so you'll be able to find me in no time.
Perfect.
Right.
And hopefully in the very near future, there will be some gigs popping up here.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the plans yet? I know things are really early and things are starting to happen.
Yeah, but things are starting to happen, even though it's early. I actually have a couple Instagram and YouTube lives that I've planned coming up, so that'll be like a little virtual concert.
Good.
Yeah, so that's going to be a start, and then just like locally, some places around here too.
Nice.
So yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show. It was a sheer pleasure.
It was a
Great
pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.